Okay, welcome to episode one of Building in Public. We're going to be profiling and building on the Numbrz platform. And today we're going to go over something very simple, dynamic calendars. And we are going to go through that. And then we have an important enhancement we want to make. And if you're interested, you can make an attempt at doing the improvement yourself and submitting it back for us for inclusion in the content on the platform. What's our objective here? Our objective is to enhance the function called generate reporting calendar labels to work for fiscal years that are not calendar years. And real quick, there are a lot of companies out there that don't have fiscal years of 12/31. For example, Oracle, I think, is May 31st, and the first day of their next fiscal year is June 1. So the reporting labels of their fiscal quarter, fiscal half, and year are different than the fiscal calendar, and we want the function to be able to do that. So let's go. Show you how we're gonna. Let's go into Numbrz and then walk you through what we have and how you can get it. So I'm going to go here numbrz.com. I'm going to log in real quick with my Google login. And this puts me into my workspace. And the first thing, what we have here, I'm going to go to the catalog, and we have a building in public model, and that's what we're going to use today. And this is what you can use. You can do the same thing to download the function and the flow, and then see if you can make it better. Okay, I'm in the building in public model, and the first thing you want to do here is go to flows, and it's the reporting calendar flow. This is the only thing in this model. Real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to use test data, and I'm going to run this to show you what this flow does. This flow is very simple. It takes in some job variables, which I've built in here, a start month and end month, and what the first month of the fiscal year is. And the second step, what it does is it's going to create one row for every month in the date range that you specified. So right now, start month, end month, January to December of 25. Here's my 12 records. And then the next step I'm doing is running each record of the 12 records through a function. And you can see those coming in right here. And this function calculates what's the quarter, half, and year. And then I have some reporting flags here, which we'll discuss in a future video. But for summarization purposes in a pivot table or in calculations and numbers, I'm going to want to aggregate data by quarter or half or year. And I'd like to have a custom quarter value, like 25Q1. The first 3 months are all in 25Q1. And then the next quarter, you can see here, April through June is 25Q2. Okay, so this function here generates those values. If we look at this function, and this is where we need the function that we need updated, and this function is live, what it does is it reads in for every date that you're passing into this function, it's going to generate the quarter, half, and year. And this is our function canvas. You can see it's very easy to understand what's happening here. So in this case, let's walk backwards. We have a May 1st, 2024 date. And you can see here it's on a calendar fiscal year ending December 31st. It's properly calculating May is in Q2 and May is in the first half of the year, and it's in 2024. So let's go through this function real quick and walk it backwards, and then we'll talk about how you can try to improve it. Selecting this value, you can see here this is using a join widget, and it's generating 24Q2. You can see here years being generated from this if statement. There's actually I want a 2-digit year, and I do have some wrangling to do with calculations to get a 2-digit year to work all the way through from 1900 to beyond 2000. This is a switch statement, so it's an if statement taking in year and then working some logic. But this join widget is taking in year of 24. I have a hard-coded uh, dash here, and then I have a derived value of Q2. And Q2 is coming from this lookup widget. And so I'm taking in month 5. So here I have the date coming in to a parse date widget. And for the date, it's giving you the year, month, and then the day. And I'm using month in the look widget here to look up 5. And real quick, I'm doing a exact match instead of a closest match. And so when you look up this 5 value here in month, it's going to give you, I'm asking for quarter, half, and these reporting flags. So May is giving me Q2, which is then feeding into the second part of this join text widget. Okay, so pretty easy once you get used to how, very easy to understand what's happening here. First of all, if this was in a formula, text formula, good luck trying to understand it, and even more good luck on trying to build it. This is a data widget, and these values are all hard entered, but they're only entered in once. So what I want done to enhance this, I've added this input value for now, and what I want to see if people can figure out how to do, and we're going to work on it ourselves too, is where you have, like Oracle, the first fiscal month of the year is not January. How can we adjust this function to still give the proper fiscal year, fiscal quarter values, or fiscal year, fiscal half values, or the right fiscal year value? And so I think a quick shortcut here, or some guidance here, is going to be, and I put some information together. Let me go to that. So real quick, key considerations. I mean, I think what we want here is something that's an elegant solution. Simple is better. So bonus points for creating an elegant solution, but simple is better. Consideration number 2, we don't want to change that data widget that just showed you months to labels. Really, most of that function I just walked you through should stay the same. And what I recommend is focusing on logic that changes the date in the input widget to a revised date used in the lookup widget. And let's go look at that. So I'm guessing right now that when we take in this value and before we use it here, instead of having a direct link, some kind of calculation is going to happen to time shift this month value to a correct fiscal month and year that goes into here. It's literally, I think that's where the focus of this is going to have to happen. And then once the date here is time shifted into a different point in time in the future, that should put it into the right fiscal month, quarter half lookup here. So once you generate it and write it here and link it back into here, and just to be clear, the way you do that is if you wanted to, you just drag it in here and that creates the new link. So it's all drag and drop. So I think that's all I'm going to say. I need to think through this myself too. I think this is, kind of like a very interesting puzzle. The beauty of what we're proposing here is once we create this or someone else creates this function will be available for anyone to use on the Numbrz platform. So build it once and then everyone can reuse it. All right, so that's the challenge. I think real quick, I think I had a final slide here. And right, so let's celebrate success. And how are we going to do that? We're going to select the first correct and elegant solution as the winner of episode 1's contribution. And we'll show your work in a future episode. And if you want to come on the episode and talk about it, that would be great. When you're ready with your solution, emails at buildinginpublic@numbrz.com to schedule a screen share session with me or John, and we'll walk through it and see if it's both correct and hopefully elegant. And then to help people out there, there's a bunch of resources we have in the platform. We have a lot of videos that will help you understand how to build. If you go back to the platform here and just create a new model, once you go in here and flows, there's videos here on how to create a flow and different things like that. So, and there's a bunch of videos up here in help also. Okay. Um, Sorry, let me get back to that. And then if you have questions, an alternative way also is just on our website. You can go into our office hours and we're there hanging out. So if you want to just drop in, you can ask us some live questions on the screen share. Okay, that's it. And then real quick, I always like extra credit. So if you want to see how I built this simple flow here that walks through, just builds this out and outputs data to a table that has all the different reporting columns or attributes for each month. I'll post that right here at the end of this video so you can watch how I built this, and that'll give you an idea of how the Numbrz platform works. Okay, good luck, and we're looking forward to hearing from you guys. Okay, in case anyone wants to see how I built the flow that I used for the building in public feature function request, I want to build that now. So I just created a new model called building in public, and let's do the flow. We'll call it reporting calendar. And let's see, what are we going to take in? We need we're going to build a calendar for a date range. And so we're going to use job variables, and we're going to have a start month, 1/1/25. So these are configurable by the user at the job level, and end month, 12/1/25. And these are the default values here. But they'll also be used for our test data. So let's go back to the stage. And instead of reading from a job table, this is the default for stage one. So we call it, give it a name, generate reporting calendar. Okay, good. So instead of reading from a job table, and by the way, I've got my test data open here. We're going to read from job variables. Okay, that's good. And then the next thing we want to do, this is the output step that's already here. When you create a new flow, let's insert a fill step. And it's going to be fill months. So we're going to have a new series, and you can have multiple series here, but we're just going to have 1 month. It's a date. The start value is going to be the job variable start month. We're going to increment by 1 month. And then we're going to end condition is going to be limit value on the month and the end job variable end month. Okay, good. So we're done with configuring that. And then we want to run each, actually we take this out. We can get started with tests, new test. Let's call it basic. And we can actually run it now because the job variables are already populated. So you can see here that we're reading in the job variables, just like we said. We're filling the months from January through December. There's the months. And then we want to calculate this reporting for each month. We want to see, is it a quarter? What quarter is it in? What half is it in? And I don't have a function in here. There's nothing here. I could add a function, but I have a function in another model. So I'm going to go to that in my orders and bookings and dashboards. I have a flow called admin and calendar. Oh, actually, I don't need to go. Oh, yeah, we can go into that. And if I go to the step, I can see this is the flow step I'm rebuilding pretty much. I'm just trying to simplify it. So here we got this function generate calendar. So this is what I want in the other model. Actually, I have to go to functions here, and let's go down, generate reporting calendar labels. Let's clone this. Instead of cloning it to the same model, let's move it to building in public. Okay, so now if I go back, I think I hit refresh, but when I go back into here, there you go, copy of it. We can actually go into it and change the name, generate reporting labels, and we'll come back. This is what I want improved. I'm going to share this out there. Okay, generate, this is reporting labels. I'll just call it that. That's the step name. And we want to map the month into here from the fill step. Okay, if we rerun this again, what you're going to see is run. Not sure why that's only showing one. But anyway, so we're filling the months from January through December, and then we're going to run them through each of the month on the inputs. Inputs are white. And then on the green side, it's probably a little easier to see. You can see for each of the months, you can see we're calculating what quarter. I don't have the headers here because we're not outputting anything yet. So if I do that, it'll work. So let's just output this now. Create an output step. Double click. New output. We're going to write it to, in this case, let's say a job table. So the output, flow output. And we're going to select everything we want to output. In this case, I want to output the month and all these outputs from the function. Okay, now you can see here all the headers come in fine. What I have is here's everything I want to output. If I look at this flow output table, it's empty. We call it reporting calendar. So that's my job output table. And it's still empty. It has a name now, reporting calendar. Job table is external to this flow, but all we can do is these are all the things we want to output. We just click here. Add missing columns. You can see it adds them, it maps them. If you go back into the schema, you can see that. Okay, pretty easy to build here. Output step, output calendar. Okay, so real quick, here's your test data. We are reading in job variables. We are filling 1 month for each one. Next step, generating reporting labels here for each record in the result set. Run it through that function, and oops, I got to rerun. Sorry. And then the next step, output to calendar to a job table, which is the same data. You could output less or more if you wanted to. One final thing here, right? So what we're going to do is for this generate reporting labels function, this works fine, but it only works for, so month one is Q1 and it's H1. But what I want to output, or what I want to do is enhance this. So I want this function, and I'm going to add it here, and it's, I guess, first fiscal month. And so I know it's going to be a string from the, so I'm going to change that to a string. But more on this in the video, but now what I have here is I have a function that works, but I want to take in, if someone's fiscal year starts in February, then these values won't look up properly. And I want someone to enhance this function so that if you're a January fiscal year, sorry, a January fiscal year end, so your first fiscal month would be month 2, then it should still show 24 Q1 for, anyways, it would map to the right fiscal quarter. Okay. So that's how I built this out. Pretty easy flow with test data. You can see it probably took a couple minutes, but that's all good. Thanks for your help on helping build enhance the function.